That's good. This is in a, you get a copy of this in there. You have that, yeah, it tells you where it starts. Well, there's the presence of peace and love and joy and hope right here. But in our world, folks, seems like there's a lot of hell going on. Yeah. And here's the thing, you know, a lot of bombs, a lot of disasters and floods, a lot of evil, and a lot of just downright meanness. But I want you to remember something. Between every bomb, between every act of evil, of badness, there is the presence. A bomb may be going off in the front yard, but in the backyard, there's that little bunch of alyssum sitting at the edge of the walk. And it's there. That's God's beauty. That's the softness. That's the quiet. That is the presence of Spirit right there. And you can touch it, you can feel it, you can feel the beauty. And the presence is everywhere. I'm going to ask you not to forget something. Don't forget that wherever you are, whatever's going on in your life, you can stop and you can remember that what you see, what you participate in, what you feel is all actually your choice. You can engage in the chaos if you choose, or you can look down at the beautiful little flowers by the walk, or you can hear the birds sing, or you can feel the breeze blow. And you can look over and see that weeds that should have been cut and pulled a month ago, but they're there, experiencing their freedom, living their life in peace, doing what they do. And I'm going to go on a little bit, but don't forget, keep on doing what you're doing. Your prayers and wishes and light go out in this world, and I will tell you they are felt. They do work. People feel those prayers. I have people, I have feelings. I feel extra anyway, but somebody every evening at 8:30 comes into my life. Their presence is there. So just know that you're sending out your light, you're sharing, do make a difference in this world of chaos. Your little acts of kindness, just smiling, they make a difference in this world of chaos. And your acts of love and compassion with each other. Oh, sometimes that's all somebody else might have to hang on to. So just remember what you are and what you do make a difference in other people's lives, whether you know it or not. But you got to know it. Please remember that, and so it is.
Good morning. Pat's little talk there triggered a memory of a meme that I saw this morning that when you see the dandelion top out there, do you see the wishes or the weeds? Okay. My talk, that not scripted. I'm going to rehash. Most of you know, or if you don't, I'm sharing with you. I'm of tribal heritage, Alaska Native heritage from the Kamalanga tribe of Unalaska. It's out on the Aleutian Chain, 2 or 3 islands out from the mainland. And in that capacity, I serve on the Fort Ross Conservancy Board of Directors as the Alaska Native representative. The numbers change. It's 150 to 200 tribes. The weekend before Memorial Day, last minute or sort of last minute-ish, all of a sudden I'm co-chairing the MC for Alaska Native Weekend that we do annually up at Fort Ross. What I want to highlight is the committee that came together. Out of my sense of urgency and kind of seeing the handwriting on the wall, the cousin that introduced me to this had been doing it. It started about 12 years ago. And I went up to Fort Ross on a weekend, one of those little things in the newspaper, looking for some history, looking for some connections, knowing that they had a tie to my people. And I found family. Turns out that I'm related through this cousin to somebody buried in that cemetery up there. So it's very personal. That committee coming together, we were making the in case of emergency document. The founder and big strength behind the weekend, she was studying for her advanced college studies at UC Davis, et cetera. And I don't know if it's a master's or doctorate, but it was like library sciences. But she used that degree to research our heritage. And she came up with stuff from the Smithsonian and microfilm that says, is this your family? Stuff I wouldn't have even known where to look. And so through that weekend, what we have, it's turned into a cultural day, but there's also a sadness up there because our people were enslaved. They killed our people to bring them down. And the local Kashaya don't know that. They thought we were invaders just like the Russians, right? We were at the mercy of, we were really good at catching sea mammals, very good at navigation in ways that down here you didn't have. And the impact of the Russians on our people happened around 1800, 1835. That relative was a blacksmith that helped make iron hinges and fasteners for the missions of California. There's trees up there that came from San Francisco Mission of them sharing cuttings. Those trees are still alive today. That matters to me as a farmer in this county. So that last minute document, that relative in there, she came down with ALS just as she was finishing up her master's studies. So took a fall at the beach. Medicine's sometimes slow in diagnosing, right? And it took, of the struggling and kind of your body betraying you, 6 months or so. Handwriting was on the wall. The cousin that she put in place to take over carrying this, when one person holds too much information and it's not shared, oops, we're in danger of losing this thing. So we were putting together the in case of emergency document, the binder that says who you contact when and the timing and who signs the checks and who do you talk to and how do you write a grant? I don't know that stuff. Well, health hit her in the process of creating the document, and all of a sudden we were living the document. Last minute, emergency letters going back and forth. Oh my God, you need to take this on or it's not going to happen. And behind the scenes, one of those cousins who was new to this, showed up with enthusiasm. All of a sudden, Angela and I are co-chairs for this event without any paperwork or guidelines in how to do it. And the health had suffered that second person bad enough that she wasn't able to participate in phone calls and email. It was really cutting her back. Oh my God, what do we do? I'm going to name those peoples on the committee because what happened in the miracle of this is that there were people who showed up and with their passion and drive felt this was important enough to show up with their time, talent, thought, and treasure. I wouldn't have known what to ask for, but collectively we made decisions by consensus. Other tribal representatives that come and benefit from our event marveled at that because no decision of how to move forward was done without including everyone, weighing in, considering carefully, and then collectively deciding what the forward direction was. Angela and I co-chaired. She's a quiet person behind the scenes. She marveled at things like she didn't know the protocols. Okay, there's ways that I live today and practice unity and inclusiveness that are not in alignment with how tribal things are done. And I'm a cultural orphan. I'm born and raised in Sonoma County, California. I'm cut off from my people. I don't have that natural feedback loop of when and how you do things and how you're supposed to act and behave. And I have to consult with others on how to do, you know? I don't want to bugger it up, but I'm the spokesperson. Oh my goodness, what do I do with this? Angela behind the scenes took care of the gifting. She didn't know that, you know, when you gift to a respected elder or traveler, it needs to be heart and hands. You can't just go buy swag and give them an expensive gift. That's actually very insulting. You have to have energy that went into it. These things are usually prepared a year in advance. We're being told 60 days in advance we need to come up with this. Oh my goodness, what do we do? Who do we honor? How? When do you put them in the program? Oh my goodness. So she took care of that, didn't know who and how to ask for things like arranging for a beach wheelchair should a disabled person of our heritage want to get down to beach ceremony. Is the road travelable? Who will carry the elders and when and how? Who do we order sandwiches from? How do we feed enough people? When and how do we do that, right? Karen is a member of the family, but late in the game, she stepped up to handle the behind the scenes stuff like Zoom calls. I don't know how to do those corporate spreadsheets of Excel documents, etc. Between her and Julie, I'm not doing well. She's another elder that's very private, doesn't like to be honored, and yet they do fry bread. She was really good at arranging for commemorative t-shirts. A member of the family stepped up and made artwork for us to have something that was our logo, honored our thing, and still, with all of that feedback, those tiny islands in the Aleutians weren't properly, wasn't fine detail enough to include everyone. And there were art that didn't go until it was detailed enough to do that. How to put this art on something so that it doesn't wear off. You know, stickers on a cup, right? Stickers on a cup, you're using it about there, but those are tiny islands on a little tiny thing. Is it gonna last? We don't want anybody to be left out, okay? So behind the scenes, she took care of that. When you have people stepping up to volunteer, right? Time, talent, thought, and treasure, we tend to incorporate our dear families. They get shanghaied into our enthusiasm, right? Bless those families. Bless those families. My sister Crystal is very good she's good at hospitality and entertainment, including those kind of folks. She did that. I was arranging for hotel rooms while commuting to and from my job in traffic because people didn't honor that you have to do this stuff in advance. 11:59 and 55 seconds, people are making changes, increasing rooms, when there was another event at the weekend that had every room on the coast tied up. How and who do we do this with, right? Maria, behind the scenes, doesn't like to be honored, very humble. She actually underwrites a bunch of their non-fiscal responsibility out of her generosity. That should not be abused. There's several of us on that committee who are very, very aware of that and a lot more careful to not abuse her kindness and tenderness. Rachel has been an artist who's of a quality that she would offer cultural weekends to, you know, at her home and give freely. She and I shared a room back when they didn't support those of us putting it on. And she has given generously, repeatedly of her time. Her art is good enough to be honored at the Smithsonian as a tribal representative. She has an email address that reflects her tribal affiliation. She's on the committee and offered and donated. All those people in there came together. Robert has promoted, we refer to him as Hi to Bob, right? He shows up in his regalia. We have folks that we brought down from Alaska that we sponsored to be there. All these folks coming together, but out of that groundswell, Every person showed up in their role on the committee volunteering, giving of their exceptional talents, things I wouldn't know how to tap. And going forward, there was a swell like the ocean wave. My people are from the ocean, so that's our lifeblood and our creator and our spirituality. Our rhythms are with the ocean. When the tide is out, the table is set, is a saying, right? Because we don't have trees and stuff on the land. The ocean gives you everything you need. It's travel, communication, our lifeblood. When the tide is out, the table is set. Well, gee whiz, that groundswell of passion that the people have had for wanting to go forward, they're already looking forward to next year. So affirming those lessons that I get from helping out from that, what can we do together as a people? Heritage is not just your blood relations. Heritage is a 124-year-old building where people throughout the ages have come together in order to be a part of their community and be something better. Heritage is not those cousins when in our DNA, I swear it's a cellular memory, when you fire cannons at us, we get sick. And we didn't directly experience those cannons pointing at us, but our ancestors did. There's something in our bodies that remember that. And yet that coming together for a weekend where we celebrate culture and share with the others, our impact was Russia, Europe, the East Coast, middle of the United States. Somebody came from Peru. I put up an old-fashioned push-pin board on the wall because I'm a little bit old school that way. But where do you come from? How did you get here? And why does it matter to you? Heritage is where we are involved with and what we do. So hopefully those lessons, the lessons I get from working together in community and honoring and affirming the gifts of every person and their extended families and communities that help to contribute to something good, those lessons carry through into the rest of my life. Namaste.
Sabrina, thank you. It's a great affirmation of, wouldn't it be great if we could always embrace life as it comes rather than as we would wish it to come. So thank you. Well, I got lots of announcements, but there's just a few that are important. Next week, next Saturday, 9-ish in the morning, we're having a work party, and it's to pretty much get ready for our Kids Day, which is July 12th, pancake breakfast parade. Snoopy gonna be here, so if you know anybody with kids, they need to be here, serving pancakes from 8 to 12. Next Sunday is potluck. I think that's important official stuff. Now, I'd like to have a couple minutes oratory and catch up from Mike and Jen. And they're back. So, Mike, welcome. Talk to us a minute.
Well, we spent the last basically 6 months in the Philippines. And I think about life there. I think about some things you guys have both said today. Because there's one thing that I've always noticed about the Filipino people is they are the masters of facing adversity, smiling about it, and moving forward and doing what needs to be done to do so. Been some death in my circle and my family and my friends, and I think that's helped me, go through that. And besides the fact that the beaches are beautiful, we had quite a nice visit. We were able to take her two young nieces, 15 and 10, who had never really been off an island of about 6,000 people, other than to go to the grocery store once in a while. And we took them on a week and a half vacation. They got to stay in a motel for the first time in their life. And they got some new experiences, and we got some new experiences through their eyes. So it was all quite pleasant and eye-opening.
Right.
And, look forward to go back. We're not here in California. We're going back to Michigan. And then actually we're probably going to travel around. Jen wants to get her citizenship. So since our address right now is in Michigan, we have to base it there.
Okay.
So we're gonna go see some relatives on the East Coast, and actually, we might end up in Oregon, so we might pop down every once in a
All
while.
right. Great,
Move on from there.
great. Well, good to see you.
Thank you. Wonderful to see everybody.
Okay.
Even though we had little time, we had to come in and say hi.
Thank you, thank you. Let's go to this place. People who are in dark, facing challenge. And the first one, I will testify and affirm your energy, your light, your prayers, your thoughts. They are real and they do stuff. People feel them. So let's take this time, mention names of people having challenge so we can send to them our light and our love and our compassion. Carlos.
Lori Luther. Very old.
And Patrick, yes, don't forget Patrick. Nobody forgot Patrick.
Great.
My mom. Mine. Catherine.
Yeah.
Sandra. Gil.
There's so much challenge going on, so much darkness. So let's take these few minutes and just send ourselves, our being, our love, our light, our acceptance, our love. Send it out where it needs to go. And we do trust Spirit to deliver our light and our love and our prayers. And so it is. I can't think of a better way to remind you again, without being harpy, let's remember your power, what you do, has great influence. Let's sing together. Well, I think we ought to stand up, those of us who can, and sing in this very room. There's enough of everything this world needs. Now we get to participate in a practice that has been the heritage of 124 years, like Sabrena spoke about. This is when we greet each other in the traditional Church of the Oaks fashion. Oh. All right. Thank you.
Hi.
Oh. Okay. Just.
Better not have been.
I think I've gotten worse at spelling because I've miswrote things so much. I have like really shaky hands because I take medications. I have epilepsy. It's not fun. It's not too bad for a plane. It's more like fine motions, like writing, that is harder. Right, but I just spelled the wrong piece. It's easier to write.
You too. Oh, I'll fall over myself.
No, I'm fine. No, I'm totally fine. It's very much like it's a little weird. Most of the time it's fine. It's just I have like moments where things break. And then in those moments, I store things in my memory or I type them.
One of the things that I've undergone these last few weeks is realizing and celebrating our abundance. You know, the last 2 Sundays, nobody knew if I was going to be here till Friday afternoon. And Dick and Wayne put together, and their team, took everybody, put together services from Friday afternoon till Sunday morning it happened. And the following week, they didn't know if I was coming back from the hospital. Yeah, I could do it, if Pat could do anything. That didn't work out that way. Friday afternoon, they said, well, we better do something. And I probably shouldn't be here today, quite honestly. But I got stuff to say. And part of what I got to say is we have so much abundance in this little family of love that we have. And I have become in a rapture of gratitude. It's like a consciousness. Every time you don't need any details, but every time I do something, I am thankful. Because it almost was that I couldn't do it anymore. But they assure me I'm going to have 100% kickback. My OCD is in perfect shape. I proved that the other day. So I can continue to think things through sufficiently. And but let's just read together our abundance affirmation, please. Our abundance is manifested greatly by our consciousness, and vice versa, may I add. And thank you, Wayne, Pat. That's song to prepare for meditation. Let's sing together number 69 in the Winds of Song. Be still and know that I am God.
Make yourself comfortable. In your mind's eye, create a resting spot. It may be a refreshing waterfall or simply relaxing in your own favorite chair. I'm going to share a visualization that I like to use, and perhaps you'll do also. I like to visualize a fountain spilling out tiny crystal droplets that washes away and through every aspect of my being. So take a moment to create whatever works for you, but bring in the light and share the light in this meditation so that we can replenish ourselves, our energy, and those around us. So let's begin with comfortable breaths and the visualization that works for you. As we close this meditation, surround yourself with this light, love, and always the protection of the Most High.
I'm here today for kind of one reason. I have just undergone experiences and feelings the most intense that I've had since I had double bypass in 2011. And I told you about my feeling of gratitude. It's off the charts. And another thing that I dealt with in these feelings was fear. It was beyond off the charts. But I found something, I learned something about fear. And it was the most freeing thing that I can think about. And then trust. I've said this whole year, my desire was to get all of us to increase our in trust in spirit. Mine did. Mine also, my trust in my friends and their opinions and their love for me. Sylvan and Julie found me laying on my bedroom floor and called 911. Trust. Trust in each other. We're all we got, folks. We got spirit and us. So, over the years, I have been, from time to time, feeling, and I've mentioned it, feeling stuck or in a rut or dry, as opposed as like not juicy dry. And I want to tell you something that today I'm on fire, and I don't think I've ever been this juicy. And I had experiences that changed my awareness of so many things we talk about. And over the coming months, and I'm going to get better. They tell me my energy is going to come back. It's going to be fine. You are going to hear the most profound and wise stuff coming out of this old man's mouth. I promise you. So I came here to say that today. How many of you heard me talk about my absolutely mandatory 6 a.m. Tuesday morning breakfast? Okay? There's been people hear me. Okay. I have breakfast with a man named Peter Hoffman every Tuesday morning at 6. He's one of the most special friends I've ever had. Well, this morning at 5:30, Dick called me to see if I was still breathing, alive, and he said that my friend Peter had prepared something today in case I ran out of gas. This man is one of the most philosophical minds I know, and we share discussion every Tuesday morning at 6 o'clock. And he's here. I am honored that he would care to participate and speak. You've been hearing me for years, you're going to hear me for years more. But at this time, I am honored to introduce and welcome Mr. Peter Hoffman to the pulpit. That was terrible. So I got a temperature. It's all right. I'll spray Bactine on it and it'll get better.
I hope you can forgive me. I have a few notes because my thoughts come and go. And so, first, allow me to share a moment of self-discovery that I actually had this morning. I was listening to a speaker who commented on the word petrified. And I thought, well, that fits. I have thought about what I might say to you all and began to put some notes together. And as I did more and more of it, realizing how little I know all of you and kind of where you are in your journeys and what is happening for you, it occurred to me that there's a reason maybe to be petrified. And I thought about that for an extra minute or so and realized what it means to be petrified and how I've carried that around probably for most of my life. Better? Think about the petrified forest. To be petrified, now it occurs to me, may mean being closed down, being stony, not stoned, but stony. And that's something to think about. There are moments when I can barely breathe for all of the limitations I place on myself about who I am and what I want to present to the world. And I'm feeling less and less needy about presenting anything particular to the world, but it's still a thing for me. Patrick and Dick have been after me to do this for a while, and I have resisted. And I'm not sure that he isn't pulling this stunt simply to have me here, but we'll see about that. I've always wanted to do this sort of thing, and I appreciate your indulgence. I'm attracted to what your congregation is all about. No doctrine. Spirit-driven. But what does that mean? And how can I get there? I'd love to hear from any of you who are willing to share what your experience of this is and how each of you addresses that question. What does it mean to be spirit-driven? Who is the Spirit? What does that mean? How do I get there? Is it important that I get there or that we get there? Where is there that we think about? What are we dealing with? And it occurs to me that these questions are best and can only be answered individually by ourselves. We can read, we can have suggestions made to us, and until we grapple with this question of how we relate to what drives us, how we relate to what attracts us, how we relate to what repels us. Until we do that work, we have no idea. I haven't had any idea until I began to work at this a little bit. I've come to a mantra that goes something to the effect of, may I forget all the things that I think I know. May I set aside all of those things that control my relationship to the universe, because spirit is universal. We sing about in this room, and that's a great place to start. But spirit is everywhere. And if we think about, I don't know how many of you are up on your physics, but if you think about an atom, for example, each atom has certain numbers of parts. And that atom changes completely if one of those parts departs, disappears. And what we have in the universe is essentially an expanded atom. Every component of that atom is critical at every moment in time. And that goes for each of us in terms of being an expression of that spirit that is universal. Now, there's some responsibility in all of that, because we're told by people who had no concept of the atom, really, the biblical teachings and so on, that things have to be a certain way, and that people are a certain way, and that they should be different than they are. And this is constraining us terribly. And each of us has an opportunity to appreciate the freedom that we actually have here and now to be who we are, to trust spirit to drive us, to doing the things that work for us, because those things will work for the whole. Where did this go? What'd you do with my talk here?
I'm just messing with you a little bit because I can. I have that kind of power.
Yeah, I know that about you. So, if we can, empty ourselves of all of those beliefs, all of those limiting ideas about how we should behave, and replace them with our personal ethic, which is to ensure that everything we say or do is supportive of others. We'll get to that part in a minute. That is helpful, that is peacemaking. And if we are doing that, we probably have covered most of what the major religions all tell us is important. Thou shalt not, thou shalt. But in a spirit of freedom and in a spirit of flexibility. One thing we have to get comfortable with is something called paradox. And that's hard. On the one hand, if we're all an electron or a proton or a nucleus of an atom, being the universe, then we're all one. We we are part of each other. And yet, even describing it that way suggests the paradox, what other? What other can there be? But we do have language, and we do use that language, and so here we are. But I'd like to posit that if we can get past the pronouns that we use, and I'm not talking about trans and, you know, who gets to choose his pronouns and who not. I'm talking about limiting the group of pronouns that we're used to thinking in terms of I, you, he, she, and it, we, you, group you, and they. And stick with I, you, and we, because that really encompasses everything. And I would invite you to consider how that might work in your lives. I was called upon to participate in some of the demonstrations that took place over the last week or two. And I found myself resistant. And I'd like to say that it was purely a motivation to count on spirit and to pray, to meditate, in lieu of going out with a group of people and yelling and screaming. I'm sorry, that's not a good way to put it, but I hope that that was what was motivating me. I don't know, but I do know this. There is something called a tipping point. And the basic idea is that it takes a certain percentage of a population, of a culture, to change that culture's average zeitgeist, average approach to things. And some people say it's 10%, and some people say it's 40%, and there have been studies that suggest the average is about 25%. If 25% of our population could get to the stage where they actually live their faith, they claim faith in God, faith in spirit, and if we could get 25% of us to really live that faith, we would be at that tipping point where suddenly, well, that would become cool. You know, we're gonna do it. We'll get there. And I chose to take that route on No King's Day, for example, and I continue to do that. Not that I'm any example necessarily to follow, but I put it out there for you. One of the things that we often try to do or think we should be doing is merging universal mind with individual mind, or vice versa. I want to become part. Well, you're already there. We just need to brush aside some of the dust and detritus that has fallen on each of us in understanding that we are already there. I hope that is semi-clear and reasonably acceptable. And if I may, just a few quick aspirations to close. May I set aside everything I know about myself, about anyone else, and especially about those that I have no contact with. And may we treat everyone, acquaintance or stranger, as if they had suffered or are suffering a broken heart, because they probably are. Thank you.
Well,
Are you saying never again?
absolutely. Peter, thank you so much. Can you understand why my Tuesday morning 6 a.m. meeting is a compulsory meeting? We have conversation beyond normal. Anyway, Peter, thank you. We're going to end this with one of my favorite songs now, Family of Love. And today, and today only, I'm not going to the back. Peter can go to the back and you can express your gratitude and thanks. And I'm going to sit in my chair, and if I could see. Sabrena, when this is over, I have a couple tasks I'd like you to do for me. And I probably shouldn't have been here today, but I'm glad I was. And please don't forget what Peter said, and don't forget what I said. You have everything you need. Don't forget that. So let's sing about this amazing family of love. May we break into this song a moment. I neglected to remember something earlier that I think fits right here in this moment. A few months back, I said that there's a lady named Diane, there's a lady named Janet, and there's a lady named Jean, who are garden ladies, plant ladies, get dirt under your fingernails ladies. But someone talked about some seeds and stuff. And these three ladies have gotten together over time. I don't know any details, don't need to. Details are important. They're for bragging and stuff. The culmination is this morning. In that little pot right there. Maybe you could hold it up and show people. There are seeds that are now plants that were planted by this union of three ladies. And that's what we've been doing here at Church of the Oaks for as long as I remember, is planting seeds. They all aren't going to grow, but if you don't plant them, they never will grow. So this family of love, keep planting these seeds. It's really important. I'm sorry for the interruption.
Oh, shame. maestro, we're going to take a moment so that everybody can circle up and join hands in this family of love. Hey, Janet, reach right behind you and grab it. There you go, that's fine. Wahoo! You can go back with Peter and three people.
Okay. The whole Tuesday.
Thanks for reminding me, right?
This kind of song available.
You can go back with three people and say they. Glad to see you, Mike. Oh, yeah. That thermostat back there in the back, make sure the top is all the way over the line.